Hey, shalom, shalom to all my fellow brothers and sisters out there. It's me again, Damian Powell from YeshuaSavesAll.com. Peace be to you in the name of our Father, Yahweh, and our Master, the Son of Yahweh, Yeshua HaMashiach. So today, my fellow brothers and sisters, we're going to be talking about do not be unequally yoked. This is a very important topic, and it is a repeated theme all throughout the scriptures. And in the Hebrew culture and the Hebraic culture, when something is repeated over and over, it's because it is very important and it's nothing to gloss over. So before I list these scriptures on this topic, I want to say first that this message is not intended for those who are already living in this situation of being unequally yoked, okay? But I do want you to know that I am praying for all of your situations collectively, that our Father Yahweh will soften your spouse's hearts and have them turn to the truth, okay? Because I can imagine how hard this can be, okay? Because your heart wants to serve our Father Yahweh, but the spouse does not. I know how difficult, I can't even imagine how difficult that would be, okay? But we know that our Father Yahweh is in control. He can soften the heart and have them come to the truth. So again, this message isn't here to start a dispute for anyone who's already in this situation, okay? Because we know that he can work out a situation for us even when we do get ahead of him. But as always, here on Yeshua Saves All, I always want to tell the truth. And I have to warn others who are thinking about getting into the situation before they actually do it. Okay? Because let's be honest, when we look at Ezra chapter 9 and Ezra chapter 10, we saw that the outcome was not good because the children of Israel married unbelievers. Okay? Which is a direct transgression against our Elohim, because they were bringing a false mighty one into the marriage, and that's idolatry, which is why Father Yahweh says stay away from these, from somebody who doesn't believe. Okay, why? Because Yahweh says that the unbeliever will turn your sons away from him. Okay, so what happens is when people get into an unequally yoked marriage, they begin to compromise for the sake of the marriage, okay? They'll start to allow Xmas trees into the home, okay, which is an idol. Celebrate birthdays. They will alternate days of worship. Say, okay, you can worship with this parent on Shabbat this week, and then the next week is the first day of the week. Or they begin to compromise by, celebrating the appointed times of Yahweh and then adding in the pagan holidays of this world, all so that the marriage, things don't get out of hand in the marriage, so the arguments don't happen, etc. Okay, so the consequences don't just fall on the parents, but they also fall on the children. So the parents must be mindful of the children being pulled between the truth of the Torah and the pagan ways of this world. It's a domino effect. It's a domino effect. So all I can say is continue to fast and to pray and to listen to the voice of our Father Yahweh, okay? For he knows everybody's situation, okay? But it's my duty to warn anybody moving forward who's thinking about getting married, okay, to somebody who is not walking in the truth or who does not believe in his son, Yeshua HaMashiach. It's a serious matter, and I have to speak out on it. Galatians chapter 5, verse 17. For the flesh craves what is contrary to the spirit, and the spirit which is contrary to the flesh. They are opposed to each other, so that you do not do what you want. So, I bring this up to say, do not let the fleshly feeling of wanting to be in a relationship or in a marriage make you compromise the truth of Yahweh's word, which is contrary to the spirit. The Ruach HaKodesh wants to have you walk in the Torah of Yahweh and be obedient to him, okay? Nothing less than that. Okay, so let's look at the commandments that are given here, okay? I read out of the Aramaic and the Hebrew. So let's start with Exodus chapter 34, verse 12 through 17 in the Aramaic. Take heed for yourself, lest you make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land whither you go, lest they become a stumbling block to you. But you must destroy their altars, break their images, cut down their idols. For you shall worship no other mighty one. For Yahweh, whose name is zealous, is a zealous Elohim. You shall not make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, so that the people may not go astray after their idols and sacrifice to their mighty ones. And they shall invite you, and you shall eat of their sacrifices, and you shall take of their daughters to your sons, and give your daughters to their sons. And your daughters shall go astray after their mighty ones, and their daughters cause your sons to go astray after their mighty ones. So as you can see, this is not my opinion. This is scripture, okay? And as always, my goal is just to bring the scriptures out, never to speak my opinion. So Yahweh is saying this is what will happen. This is what will happen. Leviticus chapter 18, verse 21 in the Aramaic. You shall not let any of your semen be cast into a strange woman, which is a pagan unbeliever, to cause her to be pregnant. Neither shall you profane the name of your Elohim. I am Yahweh. So he says it plain outright right there. Now let's go and look at Leviticus chapter 20, verse 1 through 5 in the Aramaic, which expounds upon Leviticus 18:21, which we just read. Leviticus chapter 20, verse 1 through 5. And Yahweh spoke to Moses, Moshe, saying, say to the children of Israel, any one man of the children of Israel, or of the proselytes who sojourn in Israel, who shall cast any of his semen into an alien woman, he shall surely be put to death. The people of the land shall stone him with stones. And I will pour out my anger against that man and will cut him off from among his people, because he has cast his semen into an alien woman to defile my sanctuary and profane my set apart name. And if the people of the land do any way ignore the offense of the man who has cast of his semen into an alien woman, that they may not kill him, then I will set my anger against that man and against his family, and I will cut him off and all who go astray after him, because they go astray after alien women from among their people. So we see that Yahweh makes this commandment not only to the native born, but also to the proselyte, which is the righteous Gentile convert who is now considered a native born, right? Which means that the alien woman being referenced here is a pagan unbeliever who has not joined in with Israel. Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 1 through 4 in the Aramaic. When Yahweh, your Elohim, shall bring you into the land which you are entering to possess, and has destroyed many nations before you, the Hittites, the Girgashites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Pezerites, the Hivites, the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than yourselves. And when Yahweh your Elohim shall deliver them before you, you shall defeat them. Then you shall utterly destroy them, and you shall make no covenant with them, nor show mercy to them, neither shall you make marriage with them. You shall not give your daughters to their sons, nor take their daughters to your sons, that they may not turn away your sons from following me, and serve other mighty ones. And then the anger of Yahweh would kindle against you and destroy you quickly. Let's go to Jubilees, chapter 30, verse 7 through 15. Jubilees, chapter 30, verse 7 through 15. And if there is any man who wishes in Israel to give his daughter or his sister to any man who is of the seed of the nations, again, somebody who is not walking in the ways of Yahweh, shall surely die. And they shall stone him with stones, for he has worked shame in Israel. And they shall burn the woman with fire, because she has dishonored the name of the house of her father, and she shall be uprooted from Israel. And do not let an adulteress or uncleanness be found in Israel throughout all the days of the generations of the earth. For Israel is set apart to Yahweh. Again, Israel is set apart to Yahweh. Every man who causes defilement shall surely die. They shall stone him with stones. For thus has it been ordained and written in the heavenly tablets regarding all the seed of Israel. He who causes defilement shall surely die, and he shall be stoned with stones. And to this Torah there is no limit of days, and no remission, nor any atonement. But the man who has caused the defilement of his daughter shall be uprooted in the midst of Israel, because he has given his seed to Moloch, and work profanely so as to cause defilement. And you, Moses, command the children of Israel to exhort them not to give their daughters to the nations, and not to take for their sons any of the daughters of the nations, for this is abominable before Yahweh. As you can see, he says it's equivalent to giving your child over to Moloch, the pagan deity that the children of Israel gave their children to, burn them up in the fire. That's serious. For this reason, Jubilees continued, for this reason I've written for you in the words of the Torah all the deeds of the Shechemites, which they worked against Dinah, and how the sons of Yaakov, Jacob, saying, we will not give our daughter to a man who is uncircumcised, for that is a reproach to us. And it is a reproach to Israel, to those who live, and to those who take the daughters of the nations. For this is unclean and abominable to Israel. And Israel will not be free from this uncleanness if it has a wife of the daughters of the nations, or has given any of his daughters to a man who is of, or given his daughters to a man who is of any of the nations. For there will be a plague upon plague, curse upon curse, and every judgment and plague and curse will come if he does this thing, or hides his eyes from those who commit uncleanness. Again, we saw this in Leviticus chapter 20, verse 1 through 4 in the Aramaic. Or those who defile the set apart name. Then will the whole nation together be judged for all the uncleanness and profanation of this man. So all the words that Yahweh spoke are true. And as we see that Solomon, who was the wisest man in the world, fell into idolatry because he married foreign women. His actions caused the kingdom of Israel to be split into two kingdoms, okay? As we see in 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 1 through 2. But Solomon loved many foreign women, as well as the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Ammonites, the Moabites, the Edomites, the Zidonians, the Hittites of the nations, concerning which Yahweh had said to the children of Israel, you shall not mix with them, neither shall they mix with you, lest they turn away your heart after their mighty ones. It's a repeating theme. Solomon clung to these in love, and he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines, and his wives turned away his heart. For it came to pass when Solomon was old that his wives turned away his heart after their mighty ones. And his heart was not perfect with Yahweh his Elohim, as was the heart of David his father. For Solomon went after Ashtaroth, the mighty one of the Zidonians, and after Chemosh, the mighty one of the Moabites, and after Malcom, the mighty one of the Ammonites. And Solomon did evil in the sight of Yahweh, and went not fully after Yahweh as David his father did. Now we see this spoken of again in Nehemiah chapter 13, verse 23 through 27 in the Aramaic. Nehemiah chapter 13, verses 23 through 27. In those days, I also saw Jews, Yehudim, who had married foreign wives of Ashdod, of Ammon, and Moab, and their children spoke half in the language of Ashdod, and in the other half they could not intelligently speak in the Jewish language, but according to the language of each people. And I contended with them, and cursed them, and smote some of them, and buried them, and made the others swear by Elohim, saying, You shall not give your daughters to their sons, nor take their daughters to your sons, or for yourselves. Solomon, king of Israel, transgressed by these things. Yet among many nations there was no king like him, who was beloved by his Elohim, and Elohim made him king over all Israel. Nevertheless, even him did foreign women cause to transgress. And this thing was reported to you, and yet you committed this great evil to transgress against our Elohim in marrying foreign wives. Let's go to Ezra chapter 9, verse 1 through 4 in the Aramaic. Now, when these things were completed, the elders came to me, saying, The people of Israel and the priests, the Kohanim, and the Levites have not separated themselves from the peoples of the lands, doing according to their abominations. In other words, turned their hearts away from Yahweh. Even the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Ammonites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, the Moabites, the Egyptians, and the Amorites, for they have taken of their daughters for themselves and for their sons, so that the set apart seed have mixed themselves with the people of the lands. And the hand of the elders and the Levites have been first in this iniquity. And when I heard this thing, I tore my garments and my mantle, and pulled my hair out of my head and out of my beard, and sat down speechless. Then all those who were diligent concerning the word of Elohim of Israel, because of the transgression of the exiles, assembled before me, and I sat speechless until the 9th hour. So I'm sure someone will say, so this means we cannot marry can't marry foreign women? That is not what Yahweh is saying at all. He's saying don't marry an unbeliever who isn't following him, okay, because they will lead you astray, okay? If anybody's watched this channel long enough, knows that I've always said that anybody who keeps the commandments of Yahweh and believes in his son Yeshua HaMashiach, no matter what race, you are grafted into the nation of Israel just as a native born. We're all one body. And there are many scriptures that I've pointed out concerning that, okay? You have Exodus 12:48 through 49, Leviticus 19:34, Numbers 15:15 through 16, Ezekiel 47:21, Joshua 8, chapter 30 through 35. The scriptures are just, it's endless. Paul talks about it in Ephesians. So that is not what's being said here, okay? And I'm going to give you a witness, okay? Is Ruth was a Moabite, and she accepted Yahweh, the true Elohim. She married Boaz and was in the bloodline of Yeshua. Ruth chapter 1 verse 16. And Ruth said to her, far be it from me to return from following after you and to leave you, for where you go, I will go, and where you dwell, I will dwell. Your people shall be my people, and your Elohim, my Elohim. Okay? Boaz saw that she had joined in with the nation of Israel, with him being a Jew, and he took her as a wife. Okay? My fellow brothers and sisters, there's multiple witnesses concerning the severity of the situation. Yahweh has called us to be set apart from the rest of this world. We're not to look like them, act like them, worship like them. Teach your children the truth. Pray for a spouse who is walking in the truth, or give them in marriage, if that's possible in this day and age, to someone who's in the truth, okay? The scriptures are written for a reason. So just do everything that you can to prevent this from happening, as Yahweh has commanded us from all these scriptures that I've read. 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 14 through 18 in the Aramaic. Do not unite in marriage with unbelievers. For what fellowship has righteousness with iniquity? Or what mingling has light with darkness? Or what accord has Mashiach, Messiah, with Satan? Or what portion has a believer with an unbeliever? Or what harmony has the temple of Elohim with idols? For you are the temple of the living Elohim. As it is said, I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. Wherefore, come out from among them and be separate, says Yahweh. Touch no unclean thing, and I will receive you, and will be a father to you, and you shall be my sons and daughters, says Yahweh Almighty. Hallelujah, Yahweh. As always, may our Father Yahweh Barak bless you in Yeshua HaMashiach's name, and shalom.